Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to the last day of the Agile Digital Week 2022. I would like to specially welcome the young leaders, members of the jury, and of course, you. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Wanjiko Mwaura. I'm a multimedia journalist at Deutsche Welle. Now, over the last few days, a lot has been happening. We've had opportunities for networking. We've had professional mentorship. We've had cross-border collaboration. All of this has been packed just in the last few days. And today, we actually have an opportunity to see an outcome of the collaboration that we are talking about, right? The young leaders have been working in 5 design thinking lab teams to develop new ideas and new business models. And they will be pitching these ideas and business models for 15 minutes, right? And then 5 minutes after, they will have the jury will have the opportunity to ask that particular team questions. Now, we will be very strict with time, okay? So that's why I'm giving this information beforehand. So every team is aware that 15 minutes, we cut it, and then we get into the Q&A session. But who will be the jury members that will be actually governing or just looking at all of the speeches? Who are they? We have Almut Dore, who is the director, acting director, Agency for Business and Economic Development. We have Ute AGYLE, who is the CEO, Deutschland Land der Ideen. We have Maria Yasin Ja, who is the co-founder, CEO of Aspuna Group Limited. And finally, we have Klaus Stecker, who is the Director of Programs for Africa at Deutsche Welle. Now, dear young leaders, let's give an agile digital welcome to our jury and our online viewers. Please, agile leaders, we know what we do. We send them love. We send them love. Send that love. Yeah, I see the rock sign. Thank you so much for that. Now, you see here, I am not alone. I am with Fabian, who is an innovation consultant here at Launch Lab. Fabi, you have been facilitating the design thinking lab sessions. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and also from my side a very warm welcome to all the viewers that are with us now and all the participants who were working so hard in the design thinking sessions. To be honest, I didn't facilitate the design thinking sessions, but my colleagues did. But I am the project leader here for Agile at Launch Labs.
So you can tell us a little bit.
So I can tell you perfectly what happened.
I knew I have the right guy.
Yeah, actually. And I'm very excited to be here as well, to be on stage to watch today the very interesting pitches that will come up in a few seconds. And we had a very tough run throughout the week, so let me tell you that. We had 4 very intense days in the design thinking lab. And when we started, we only had people who didn't really know each other at that point. And we had the challenge to find promising business ideas in the context of climate change, so business ideas that had to do with sustainability. And we wanted to achieve all that based on German-African cooperation. So that was the very beginning of the week, and you can imagine what that means, right? First, you have to get to know your team. You have to get to know what the team members think of the topic, so you have to align in the team. That was something we did in the first days, very much discussion about the topics that we all associate with climate change and the problems maybe that also come to our minds. And then we also had to conduct interviews, because design thinking as a methodology is very much user-centered. So in design thinking you have 3 elements. That's the desirability, so desirability for the user.
Yes.
You have the feasibility, that's the technical feasibility of the idea of the solution.
So if it's practical or not.
If it's practical, right, if you can do it. And I would say most things are doable by now. So
yes.
Feasibility is mostly a thing where you have to ask a technician or something like that, right? Or an IT guy, how do you do it? And then you also have the viability, and that's like the economic and financial aspect.
Does it make sense to dig deeper into this idea, right?
That's basically it. Yeah, you want to see if there's a market for it, if you can monetize it and if it's actually a business model. But in design thinking, we always start with the user, and that's like the important part, which makes it human-centered. That we always put the human in the middle of our research, and therefore we also did interviews, and we actually even mixed up the groups for that, so that we actually have the experts. Because we have so many young leaders here who are experts, for example, in agriculture, or for example, with a startup, and they can tell so much so that we can also use this knowledge, right?
Ooh.
Really, really tough. I mean, you can imagine how much work that was for all the participants.
Yeah.
And that was only Monday, right?
Uh-huh.
We had to condense all of that on Tuesday. We had to come point of view together to really get to one point where we say, okay, this is now our problem where we want to focus on. And then the ideation started. We came up with these crazy ideas. We also thought about if it's feasible and if it's also viable, right? We did business models, we did impact assessments. So there was a lot of work for the participants in there. And now I'm super, super curious to see what comes out in the pitches, because there's so much going on in your brains, right? I mean, the groups have been preparing the pitches up until now, and I guess they're super excited also to present now.
I am super excited
wow,
to start.
really?
Yes. And who do we start with?
Yeah, I think we can start now, right? So,
Yes.
Ellie, maybe if you're there, please come on stage as well, because Ellie is our team coach for the first team. And Ellie, we would like to give you a short introduction maybe to your team's name. What's the team's name and who will present, who will guide us through your pitch? You have the word, Ellie.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, I will not take unnecessarily the floor, because it's for team one or one innovative, as they call themselves, to shine. As their facilitator, I'm secretly, and now not so secretly, proud of them for what they have achieved, because not only they are a team that is very balanced on the right expertise, but they showed themselves to me as the team that is very much in tune with design thinking. They were so much, um, in like, they had the right design thinking mood in the right moment. When they had to listen, they listened. When they had to be creative, they were loud and messy. And then when they were testing, they were observant. So I really cannot be more proud of them, because they showed this natural tendency of leaders, of young leaders. And I would love them to succeed in this competition, obviously, but also I'm sure they had a good and transformative experience. So the floor is yours. One innovative, I think Jan Fedler would present on behalf of the whole team. Once again, you were really amazing, and I'm so proud of you. And go and tell the story of what you guys did.
Okay, yes, thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, perfectly.
Perfect. Cool. So yes, welcome to our pitch. Maybe I can give a short disclaimer on before I actually start the real pitch. So why am I presenting? Why is a white man presenting when we have young leaders from Africa? We have women, especially in our team. We had really good people with presentation skills. So why is somebody presenting who is actually quite bad at presenting? Who is a white man, not the one you really want to have presenting and representing such a group? I can tell you it's very simple. It's a simple our idea in general. Design thinking, we learned, is all about testing, right? We thought our idea is so simple and convincing. It also needs to be convincing if it's told by someone very bad at presenting. So let's test it. Let's test our idea with the worst presenter we have in the group, and let's see if it's still convincing. We believe it is, because it's simple and it's easy, but let's see. We are in design thinking mode, so this is part of the test and of the exploration. So allow me to share my screen. Should my mic or connection not be good, let me know and I will switch off my camera. Sorry. Can you see my full screen locally?
Yes,
pitch?
we can.
Perfect. Yes, so on behalf of the team Innovate, I'm happy to present to you the idea called Locally. Let's quickly show you the team that I was talking about, which is really a great team, and it's a pity you can only see, part of it with me today. So we have a quite diverse team. I don't want to go into details, but what you can see from the team, if you just look at some of the buzzwords, we have quite a number of founders and entrepreneurs here. So it was great fun and a great honor to work with this team on this idea. So why locally? Don't you all like fresh and locally produced inexpensive food, like we can see on the left side? Don't you all like that? Yes, right? But how, when you're shopping, how can you sure you're actually buying it, this locally produced food? Well, we found you rarely can, and so did our test candidates. Even if you sometimes might be able to tell it's local, what is global, where does the food come from, it's usually difficult and it's a hassle. So that's a need. So how do we solve that need? What do we do? So very simply, locally is an app with which you can scan barcodes, and that will dynamically calculate the distance to origin of that product which you are scanning based on the real-time location of the consumer. So you have the phone in hand, you have the product in your hand, the barcode is already on the product, you scan it, and dynamically, based wherever you are, in real time, wherever you're standing, whichever shop you're in, however far away you are from that location where the product has been produced, you see the distance, and you get an indication of how much, what kind of an impact did that do on the environment? Was it low? Was it big? Are you doing a good thing? Maybe in relation to other products, is 32 kilometers something big? Is it something small? And you can learn a lot more about the environment, the impact, connect to the farmers behind this product and so on. So there's lots of additional information and iterations of what our app can and will at some point be able to do. But it all starts from this very simple thing. Where does my product from? Dynamically, really that thing which I hold in my hand. How many kilometers? So what does it do? Why that? Is that any useful? Well, yes, it helps consumers to identify locally produced food when shopping in the supermarket. As simple as that. But it doesn't only stop there. It also raises awareness for ecological in general. Also for people who are not concerned about the environment, but maybe they're just concerned about local food. We found some research that says people are more concerned about local food than about ecological food. We might get them hooked. We might make them more aware of the issue, which is our overall target of this challenge. And lastly, obviously, we are supporting local farmers and conscious shopping in general. So locally gives orientation in this shopping jungle where you don't really know what you are buying. It connects customers to the product origin through the very individualized distance calculation. The phone, live, real time, based on your location. So we exploit all this very simple technology that is already there. It allows customers to identify local products very easily. It gives you background information on the carbon footprint and all that awareness and the information that you need. And it allows producers to differentiate and sell their product at a premium. So in iterations of our product, we might be able to turn it into a label. We might be able to charge label fees. Might, get producers to differentiate themselves, the local ones, the organic ones, and reach the customers better. So we're bringing those people who want to buy locally and people who can supply locally together, a win-win situation. And thereby it boosts the local economy. Very simple, isn't it? Even a bad presenter like me can tell you that idea. So does that already exist? To our knowledge, it doesn't. It's simple, but it doesn't. We couldn't find it. There are apps which can scan and provide data on food, on products. We have listed some of them here, but none of them focuses on distance, and none of them calculates it dynamically. And even though more people about local than about ecological. So we think that is really a very simple, maybe you call it small, but it's a differentiation criteria. And we believe simple is good, simple is better. We can get something going here. So just a visual overview about how the screens could look like, how the workflow could be. You scan a product, you screen. I think I don't even need to go into any details here. You can all imagine how that will work. You scan, you see a simple number, and you get additional information if you want to. Very easy. So how can we get it going? Well, we just need a prototype, really, and we need to test the prototype. Not too difficult, not too costly. Of course, we need to spread the word a bit. We need to get people to use it. We need to do some marketing. We can then really roll it out in Africa and Germany/Europe. And at some point, when we have some traction and some user base, we might even, go to the producer side and try to generate some label fees. But that's not only a bad thing. The producers, the local farmers, they will be happy, and maybe the local food supply chain, they will be happy to differentiate themselves to competitive products which have a worse carbon balance, which are produced far away. Yeah, so lastly, very simply, with a very simple intervention, very simple tool, we might be able to rescue the climate with a very simple solution. And I think that is it. It's as simple, it doesn't even need a thank you slide, our presentation. So I think probably I'm way under time, but that's how it is with simple solutions. You need to tell them in 30 seconds in an elevator. So there you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Indeed, you are a bit under time, which leaves us 6 minutes in your time. I would like to invite the jury members to please raise their hands, and I can see you, and so you can ask questions to Team Innovate. Members of the jury who would like?
They're either shocked or amazed at that simple solution.
Could you please hover the? I think please take on the stage and ask your question or comment.
So it was me. You said Almut because I had a problem with the connection at this point.
Yes, I did. I said Almut, yes.
Thank you. So hello
Welcome
to everybody. I'm really amazed by this presentation, even though we had a white man presenting this idea. So I loved your self-presentation very much as well. So I think it's a really, really great idea. I love it. It's very simple, as you said before, but it's also kind of great innovation behind. I would like to raise 2 questions. As far as I understood, you said that you are planning to work with local producers. So how you find these local producers? This would be the first question, because there's behind a kind of assessment. Will they get also a financial contribution? How will be the relationship managed with them? So, and how the marketing thing will be organized, because marketing is very important, because also the local producers have to know, so the population, the consumers, they have to know. In that question, I would be interested, and yes, this would be my first question.
Yeah. Thank you for the comments and also the questions. Well, yes, I agree on the marketing side. That is crucial, and that is probably also necessary even for a prototype. The connection and the integration of the local farmers is, I think, a step 2 in our or even further in our roadmap. So it is not necessary for the idea to work. I think the idea can work without that connection in the beginning to keep, for a prototype and to keep things easy, keep costs low and so on. Because as you said, that is another level of complexity. But it is also interesting. So once we get there, you asked, should there be a financial incentive? No, we rather see it a bit the other around. We want to explore if we can turn this also into some kind of a label of, which might not even need the dynamic calculation, which is sort of then the detailed view, but we can also have something like, a label that says this is locally produced, even valid for, a region compared to from Papua New Guinea. So we want to, if we can turn it into a hybrid solution between, calculate from barcode versus turn it into a full label. And then once you have a label, you obviously have the usual business model of the label where you charge fees for the label. I hope that answers your question at least slightly.
Thank you very much. I will take one other question. I think I saw Maria's hand was second. So please, the microphone is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you for an interesting pitch, and yeah, concise is always good. So well done, and very interesting idea. I have two questions, and forgive me if I try to be the devil's advocate a little bit, but I think in a real scenario that will happen. People like to provoke sometimes with questions as well. So I'll be playing that role a little bit perhaps today. So one question I have is around the segmentation of your customers, because I understood that would have been, you had it on your last slide, that you're targeting customers in Europe and in Africa. And I'm very interested in specifically how you might differentiate the marketing for those customers, because you're faced with a situation that is almost a mirror image of Europe, where you actually have a lot of local produce unless your customer segment might be the cities, and you have a situation where you don't necessarily have enough local substitution for imports. So it's a bit of a different, there's a bit of a different situation, I think, in Africa. So I'd like to understand exactly who you're targeting there as opposed to Europe. The second one is around the calculation of climate smartness, let's call it. Distance is, of course, just one element. Have you thought about other variables that make up whether these products are really green or not? Yeah, my two questions.
Yeah.
Jan, just before you answer, I would like to...
Advocate.
Jan, just one quick second. We are running short, so you need to keep your answer very concise, yeah? You have 45 minutes. Seconds.
45 minutes. Okay, thank you. Second question, yes, we thought about that, and we know it's actually not even the best indication, the distance, but we want it as a hook, So we have that research that people care more about distance than about other issues, and then we add all the other issues. If somebody has locally produced meat, you will tell them, yes, nice that it's 1 kilometer slaughtered away. It's horrible in terms of footprint. So I hope that makes sense. We will add a lot of information in the app, but we take it as a hook. This question is obviously more complicated. Yes, I see your point, and probably you're right about that. I think we would need some more testing, but I think, that we see some convergence, obviously, especially in we were really targeting urban areas, so we see convergence in settings, and also the type of consumers. Critical consumers are also growing in Africa, and we actually thought about a solution that can really work in air context and in European context, and so that's why we chose this urban consumption choice. Yeah, I know I have not 100% answered your question, but I think that's a challenge which will continue to be there with us.
Thank you. I got the gist.
Thank you very much. I am told by my team that we do have two more minutes. So one last question from you, Klaus. And please, let's make it brief because the time is running short, okay?
I try my best. Thank you, Chico. Good to see you here, and sorry for the little delay. I joined in a bit later. I had some access problems. I can only congratulate. The presentation was very brief, very straight, and this is really an advantage. One question was asked by Almut already, so that is sufficient to me. My question goes into the direction of the consumer usage. Did you have the opportunity to do a little bit of market research on the use of mobile data and apps in that case? Because this is sometimes a bit of a problem in Africa, that mobile data are extremely expensive, and so the use of certain apps are limited. So what is your approach to that limitations?
Yes, we have no research, but we have had enough African participants and also people who have had exposure to the African urban context to know that this, especially for the target group that we are running, is probably not a barrier because it's not very data heavy, our app. But should we find out in further testing that that is a huge barrier, we I don't know. Of course, we could see if we can get some CSR partnerships with the mobile phone providers or whatever. But I know that complicates the whole matter crazily. So I don't think, to be very honest, that this little volume of data will be an issue to that type of consumer which we are in. That's the type of consumer who has a mobile phone, which can scan, and yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right, thank you so much for that session. Thank you, Jan, and the Innovate team for your wonderful presentation. Now we'll get to the second. Give us a bit of information about the team. Welcome on stage.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone. Hello from my side. My name is Laura, and I had the honor to be coaching the second team during the past days, but not alone, together with our colleague Stefan from Launch Labs Bratislava. Two highlights of this week for me were definitely the amount of ideas that were created during the session, so many ideas that we could have followed with, but I think the team chose the right one. And the second thing is that we did also have some technical difficulties at some points throughout the process, but every time that we were together in the Zoom call, there was such a great team spirit, and also beyond that in the WhatsApp group, it was amazing to see how a team actually formed within these couple of days. So, without further ado, I would like to hand over to my team, also in the order of their appearance: Calvin, VM, Meklit, David, Catherine, Emmanuel, and Priscilla. And let's show our applause that we always did in the team, which it goes like this.
Hello, everyone. This is Team 2, Taxi to a Greener Future. We're a team of diversified individuals equipped with passion and unique experience in making the world a better place for you and I. Next slide, please. What will the world feel like in 2100? Next slide, please. Must we sit down for our farms to get burned? Must we sit down for our homes to be set on fire? Must we sit down for people's lives to be in danger? Something has to be done. Next slide, please. The level at which the sea is rising is drastically, crazy, and something has to be done about this. And I believe that Team Taxi to a Greener Future has really got the solution. And we believe that you coming on board with us would enable us to make the world a better place. Next slide, please.
You need to see this as well. Next. Dear jury, dear audience, did you know that the famine is placing at least 30,000 people in the most extreme stage of food insecurity? Did you know also that people have had to resort to desperate survival measures, such as eating raw red cactus fruits and wild leaves? Next. I know that this is shocking for everyone there. This man had all his animals dying. This is extinction. The world's most vulnerable animals, including those already near extinction, will likely face the biggest threats. Next. So climate change is real. We are the first generation to feel the effect of climate change, and we need to be the first generation who can do something about it. Just believe in the power of your own voice. The more noise we make, the more the world will change for the better. Next. So, however, there's always a hope with the Change AI. Would you like to know more about Change AI? Please pay attention to the next slides with David.
This is Jason. Jason is a 22-year-old man living in Berlin. He loves playing games. He's also interested to learn more about climate change. He wants to support his climate change community's efforts around his area about climate change. He would like to understand how he can make significant contribution in his daily actions and levers, and would like to see a greener future for the world. He wants an easier way that he can learn and raise awareness in his community. He's not interested in getting scientific research, but he wants an easier way. On the other part of the world, Camila lives in Kenya. She has seen the effect of climate change in her country. She wants to learn more, and she wants an easier and a quicker way to learn more. This is where Change AR comes. We help Jason and Camila get educated. We simulate the greener, the better future by creating awareness to change people's behavior.
What is Change AR and how does it work? First of all, you need to download the augmented reality app to your phone and you need to sign in to join the crew. Then you digitally meet your digital Change AR ambassador. These are people who are strongly affected by climate change and who will lead you through the application and also through the whole experience. So here we have Juma. Juma's community is strongly affected by climate change. He will show you how your future would look like in year 2100, and he will help you to find ways to have a greener behavior and also to avoid the worst case scenario. And of course, he's here to help you with the app if you face any problem. So once you open the augmented reality Change AR app, you can point anywhere where you are to see the dystopia of year 2100. Like in the picture to the right, we see someone pointing at a city, and because of the rising sea level, the Change AR app is showing it already flooded. Next slide, please. And so you see this dystopia, you are shocked, and you need to learn, what can I do against it? So the app will show you green alternatives in your daily behavior. So for example, your choice of transport. If you choose the bike instead of the car, or maybe you go by train, you collect points. Or if you choose a vegetarian meal over some meat, you get points. And with these points, you can use to save the digital world. At the end of the day, as you changed your behavior or your daily life behavior, you're actually slowing down and trying to stop the real life climate change. Next slide, please. Maclet already told us about 2 potential users of our app. So I want to extend it a little bit and to see our customer segments. So basically everyone who has a smartphone, which is like 2.5 billion people on this world, has a smartphone currently. We are going for the people who are interested in climate change and who are mostly not yet affected. But in the long term, we're also going for the people who are not aware of climate change, and we want to make them aware and change their behavior. Our partners to reach there might be United Nations or some NGOs who are dealing in the matters of climate change, but also green mobility suppliers who want to publish their products and to have users. We could work with ecotourism organizations or even with team number 4 from the pitch we saw yesterday. Are you ready to partner with us? On the revenue side, we are happy to show ads in the app. Like, for example, if you're going through a city, you have an ecological store or you have some alternatives, some green alternatives. These companies can pay to be displayed with an advertisement, but we can also provide the anonymized data on sustainable behavior to either researchers or suppliers of green solutions. Thank you very much.
So what are the benefits of Change AR? We are creating a social magnet to join the community. So we are creating social incentives. You can also become an ambassador if you are already affected by climate change. And dear jury, aren't you curious too what your place looks like in 2100 affected by climate change? So come and join. The other benefit we create is we transfer knowledge. So we do not only show shocking pictures, we also show how to save the environment. And the third and most important effect, of course, behavior change. So immediate and long-term action is what we want to create.
We are targeting SDGs, of course, by enhancing behavior and behave in a more environmentally friendly way. Sorry because of that. So the behavioral patterns we are targeting are reduction of wastage, saving energy and water, using green mobility, and sustainable eating. And with this, we are targeting SDG number 13, climate action. And long-term, we are also targeting sustainable cities and communities, life on land, life below water, and responsible consumption and production. Handing over to Mike.
Thank you, Catherine. So you may wonder what makes Change AR an innovative solution. So my colleagues have already talked about it, David. Augmented reality, this allows us to visualize and see the potential of climate change on our world. Next slide, Catherine. The other thing it does is that it provides a unique experience. It allows the users to visualize, to see what it could be, and it shocks them into the realization that if nothing happens, then the world that we love will be no more. Second, it will be a great educational tool that provides rich content and leverages a device that you already love and use. We all have mobile phones, cell phones that we use, and we are being able to leverage that. And this will allow us to have a bigger and wider impact. And you may be wondering, what are the competitors? There aren't many in this space. There aren't many that are implementing it this way. There's a lot of applications that provide content on climate change. However, this combination of augmented reality and providing this content is not done. However, we realize that, there are social platforms such as YouTube, Facebook, others. There's video games such as Pokemon Go that leverage augmented reality. We also know of Netflix. So we compete for attention. We will compete for attention with this. However, we don't really see them as competitors. So we believe that if we bring this application on the market, there will be widespread adoption.
Wouldn't you want to be part of this unique agenda? It's not just a unique agenda, but it's a reality, which is something which is happening as we speak now. Next slide, please. We are very passionate about it. That is why we are working. You ask yourself, why are you seeing our chat on the screen as we speak right now? One of our colleagues is facing a major issue in her country. The city yesterday had a 50 degrees Celsius, which is very, very, very extreme, very, very bad. Could you imagine? Do you want to live in a world where a newborn baby will come to this world? And at the moment he or she visits our world, he or she faces a degree of, let's say, 100 degrees Celsius. This is not very good. This is not very welcoming. Next slide, please.
It's the final slide.
Okay, so we want you to be part of us because we believe climate change is happening right now. You need to be part of the agenda. You need to make a change AR and be part of a global alliance. We need you. We want you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation, team. Taxi to a Green Future. I will open now the floor to the jury to ask questions. And as before, we raise our hands and I will see who raises their hand first. The jury is invited to ask the questions now. Yes, Ute, I see you. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Manjiku, and thank you very much, the team of Taxi to a Green Future. Very well thoughtful presentation and innovative idea. Thank you very much. Maybe I didn't get that quite correctly, but could you elaborate a little bit more on the on the business model. So how will you earn money with that? Who has to pay for that? How does the income comes in?
Okay, so thank you very much, the name, sorry, Waylan, for the question. Witten for the question.
Ute.
Pardon me, thank you for the question. So in terms of revenue, we sort of like create social incentives by partnering with institutions such as United Nations, because we believe that these organizations need data in terms of, implementing their policies. So as a result, we have the available data. And so we will sort of like go to them, and then they have grants actually for such particular projects. And so let's say there could be an area in, let's say, sub-Saharan Africa, like South Sudan, and these people are encountering high level of climate injustice over there. So, and this area needs some sort of support in terms of providing them with these incentives that will help them to have the common livelihood, like even having a place to lay their bed. But there are situations where there are flooding in Africa where people don't get a place to even sleep and then lay their head and even take care of their children as well. And so we will sort of like get this funding from the UN or strategic partners that need this sort of data to implement their policies. And then we will sort of like segregate these budgets, and then we will allocate them to various affected areas in the world. And we are currently targeting, sub-Saharan Africans, and we are looking at scaling up across Middle East and the rest of Asia as well. But these are areas that we believe that have, major effect, major impact, as well as the global, market as well.
And Calvin, if I may add to that, on top of that, also the presentation said that we are working with advertisement within the app, sorry. And also we are providing anonymized data on sustainable behavior to other companies. That's 2 more revenue streams we were thinking about.
Thank you for that answer. I will pick 2 more questions. First from Maria.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the presentation. I thought it was really interesting, and you certainly was very emotional as well. So injecting emotion in that way is always very clever, actually, when you're pitching. Gets people invested. I just have one question, and that is to do with your business model relies actually on those in the global south, let's say, to be the educators of those with the larger footprint in carbon footprint, right? In the industrialized nations. And I just wonder, how do you incentivize your educators to be part of this model? That would be interesting to me.
Excuse me, Maria, I couldn't hear you clearly on that question. Can you please come again?
Yeah, sure, I'll repeat. Your business model relies, I think, as I read it, on members of your app in the global south to educate those mainly that have a larger carbon footprint, right? That are mainly based in more industrialized areas. And I wonder, how do you incentivize those that maybe don't need to change their behavior very much because the carbon footprint is very small, or there might actually be just a lack of choice in terms of what you do in terms of transport, for example, no trains or so. How do you incentivize them to be part of the community and become your educators?
That's a very interesting one.
Kelvin.
Anyone in the group wants to
yeah, can I suggest that we take both questions and then we answer them? So
okay.
Marius, and then we can also take Klaus, and then we'll answer them together.
Yeah,
and we have 3 minutes.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, Maria's question was exactly even better expressed than I could do it, about that contradiction I also saw. And another one is, I'm a bit skeptical because about the target audience, because I have the idea or the suspicion that you talk to the already converted people. How do you attract those who ignoring all that climate impact, so because they would just ignore it. So you would that is just probably a bit provocative, but that's the contradiction I see. The other questions are answered about the revenues and the global south, global north question.
All right. I'll take a stab, and then David and others also feel free to jump in. And I think they're related. Thank you, Klaus. Thank you, Maria, for those excellent questions. So starting with Klaus's question, how do we bring on the people who are not as aware about climate change or have been ignoring it? So that's why we decided to go with augmented reality. We, really shock them into realizing the changes, into realizing the effects of climate change, because in Africa, where we are, a lot of times you see a lot of green scenery and all these things, and it's very easy to avoid it. So even in terms of our marketing strategy, how we would approach it is to have those shocking images, like evoking strong emotions, which Maria talked about. We really want to put it in front of their faces and make them realize, take time and look at what this place that you love would look like. It's a bit risky, but is a strategy we're deciding to go with, because we believe that if people can visualize and see the potential, then they can be converted and change behavior and become ambassadors.
25 seconds.
And to touch on what Maria said, we realize the challenge because you're sort of like bringing it back to the industrial world. But we believe that when you look at millennials, when you look at young people, they are the ambassadors, they are the voices. So if we can bring them on board, then they can help amplify our message.
Thank you very much. That is where we end it with Taxi to a Green Future. And now I would like to invite our next group, our third group, Bridge Builders. Toby was the facilitator. Please come on up.
Exactly. And finally, we are together on the stage.
That is
Afterwards,
true.
all the time behind the camera.
This is true. Thank you for the wonderful job.
Yeah, thank you so much. And now I have the wonderful task to build the bridge to our next team, and you already said it. I'm talking about the Bridge Builders. And when I'm talking about the Bridge Builders and their teamwork, what they did, they built a wonderful bridge out of passion, out of collaboration, and out of empathy. And because of that wonderful bridge, they were able to go through the whole process we provided them in the last 5 days in a really fast and effective way. And because they did that, finally also they made a solution which is a bridge by itself. And with no further introduction, I want to invite you, the Bridge Builders, to the stage.
Hello, everyone. As Toby already introduced you to us, we are the team Bridge Builders, and today we're going to present you the app, The Green Bridge, which will literally change the course for African German green startups. Let's see how it works.
Hi, I am Emmanuel from Ghana, co-founder of Sunny Africa Limited, and my business partner is Fabian from Germany. We are an African-German green startup with a vision to power Africa on solar. We have a profitable business, and over the last 3 years, we have installed a total of 1.5 megawatt solar installations in Ghana and Ethiopia. We really need finance to scale up, but it has been challenging finding the right investors who align with our values. In fact, 2 investors already approached us, but we do not share the same values, so we couldn't accept their help. To us, values such as fairness, impact, and respect are very important to us, not just profits.
Hello, my name is Ubrist from Ethiopia. Look, guys, as an investor, I've been wanting to find an entrepreneur with whom I share the same mindset with, but I have not found anyone yet, and also a potential investor that I can work with. I don't know what to do. I'm super frustrated.
Luckily, Emmanuel and Woobers, there's the Green Bridge app. So let's see how it works.
The Green Bridge is an app that works for both startups and green. Sorry, I'm trying to to do this, sorry. It's an app that works for both startups and investors playing in the field of green innovation. The landing page is very simple. It gives a short description of the app, and it asks visitors to decide whether to enter the field for the green startups or for the investors. Let's be an entrepreneur today. Anyone can register for free. You have to insert very straightforward company information that then will be verified by our team. The verification will help build us credibility, improve the safety, and increase the good matchmaking that we want to do. Once companies are verified, they get an activation pin via email. The most important offering of our app is the perfect matchmaking. Matches are created based on shared values and on business needs. The first step is to fill out the questions in order to match via value. We give people a drop-down to answer questions about how serious they are about reducing carbon footprint, about their SDG focus, their ideal impact and return ratio, and what is very important for them as a non-negotiable value when working with a partner. But we obviously know that it doesn't just help that people connect on a value level, we also need to connect on a numbers level. So the second matching will happen via the numbers. So there we need to understand the different stages companies are in. We want to understand the sectors that they're working in, markets and countries they're serving, and the ticket size they're looking for, or the ticket size they're offering. Once these informations have been updated, they have access to their dashboard. The dashboard would also be where companies that, for example, want to put advertising onto the app, you will see their logos, or if they want to advertise an event, it will pop up here as well. But it mainly shows the different functions that people can access on a dashboard. The main function I already mentioned is the matches. This is what the match section looks like. What's unique about it, we don't just want to match startups and investors. It's also become clear that investors want to match with investors and find like-minded people to perhaps co-create and co-finance bigger projects together. And there's a need that startups and startups get matched in case they want to work on a bigger project together. They want to build a one big voice in order to attract more attention and get more financing perhaps, or just simply share knowledge, common challenges to solve together. If you don't just want to have matches, you can do much more on the app. There is a section, what we call Academy. It's a toolkit. It's a toolkit for entrepreneurs that want to actually improve how do you get into the pocket of their investors. How do you do financial modeling? How do you do fundraising? How do you work efficiently? How do you do an impact assessment? And I mean, the opportunities are endless. It's also co-designed. So people that use the app can also contribute towards this material, and we will obviously also be ongoing in terms of finding out what's needed. We've got a forum where people can chat with each other. They can search for other organizations. They can exchange knowledge. There can be discussions. And most importantly, we want to get feedback from our users. What's working, what's not working, what are they looking for? Yes, and then obviously everybody can complete a profile on there with their company logo, some information about their organization, which then other companies can access and search for. There's also an events page. There's lots happening in the green innovation space, often very hard to kind of bring it all together. We want to try and do this on this events page where people can also share of events that they know of. Yeah.
Very impressive. Let's also have a look at the impact.
So we do have three main activities. Our first activity is the startup clustering service. The second one is the capacity building, which includes the financial support and the technical support. And the third one is the matching between investors and startups. So these activities had direct effects. For the first activity, which is the startup clustering service, it has an increased cooperation between startups as a direct effect. For the capacity building, we have, as a direct effect, increased capacity built for green innovation startups. And for the third activity, which is the matchmaking, we have the direct effect, for the capacity building, we have three direct effects. The increased capacity built for green innovation startups. We also have the increased number of startups solving climate. And also we have the more startups receive funding. And for the third activity of the matching fund, we do have two main direct effects, which is the increased number of startups solving climate challenges, but also more startups receive funding as well. So this direct effect has also an indirect effect. For the increased cooperation between startups, the indirect effect could be the green innovation sector is gaining monument, and another indirect effect, which is startup voices heard, political and social. The green innovation sector, it includes the SGB number 11. For the second direct effect, we have as an indirect effect, startup deliver better results and less likely to fail, of course. And for the more startup receive funding as a direct effect, it has a better understanding between startups and investors as a direct effect, which is including, it's part of the SGB number 17's partnership for the goals. So this indirect effects has also a long-term impact. So the long-term impact is for the green innovation sector that has four indirect effects, Less CO emission, SGB number 13, less and clean energy demand, SGB number 7, more access to clean water, SGB number 6, and economic growth, especially green, which is SGB number 1 and 8. Then for the indirect effect, startup deliver better results and less likely to fail. It has as long-term impact the shift from AIDS-based development to mutual benefit corporate approach. And for the final indirect effect, which is better understanding between startups and investors, has three long-term impact, which is the first one, economic growth, again, SGB number 1 and 8, and better resource allocated for the green innovation projects, SGB number 9, and finally shift from aid-based development to mutual benefit corporate approaches. So as you see, our startup is part of 7 SGBs.
Amazing, Afif. But how do we actually make money?
Yes, that's a very relevant question you're also asking you. So I briefly talk about revenue, costs, partners, and competition. We have 4 major revenue streams. First, we get a fee by investors when matched, intentionally only by the investors, not by the startups, because they're cash constrained. Second, also the startups, we receive some fees for them, but this is purely for the capacity building, where they can decide, I like this course, I don't need that one, I heard it already. So very selectively, they can get access to quality know-how. In addition, we receive some funding from sponsors because of our impact, which you've just heard from Afif. And finally, also, as mentioned already, we provide advertisement opportunities for corporates, specifically those which offer services for software, for startups. So, for example, accounting softwares, CRM software, so on and so forth. These are our revenue streams. We need them because we have costs, 5 major costs items. Most importantly, the salaries to run the platform. Second, subcontractors. Here's also personal cost, mainly because we will not develop everything in-house. So the first 2 are the major cost items. In addition, there are some fees, running costs for hosting the platform and software fees for the different things the platform is built on, in addition to the administration and overhead costs, insurance, rent, so on and so forth. And finally, and very important, we have a large number to address, so we need very good marketing to get hold of these large number of users. Thus, also marketing is a major cost part. Having said this, let's jump to the partners. there are three groups of partners. First, the governmental partners, like the institutions mentioned below, and we share the same vision. For this reason, we can partner because we are very dynamic in implementing the results we both strive for. Finally, secondly, for investors, there are also investor associations or banks which need to invest, and we can help them, and thus we partner with them to get our joint achieve targets done. And finally, multiplicators like incubator hubs or Land der Ideen, which are always looking for interesting startups to foster the impact. All this is new, but there are other people doing it already, so there are competitors. Our big difference is that the other competitors, they are mostly like short-term project funded, for example, for a year or two, and then everything stops. So we ourselves are a green bridge. We ourselves have to be profitable, and this, the key are our revenue streams, because our platform is long-term self-sustaining. Thank you, and let's proceed.
Thank you very much for your
presentation. Oh my goodness. It's been less than 2 months since I signed up on the Green Bridge, and I've already found 3 investors who perfectly align with my values and want to invest in my business. I also receive regular updates on green innovation trends, and I've already been trained at the Green Academy on how to do impact assessment. Fabian, our days of financial struggles are over, and our vision of powering Africa on solar is about to come true. Thank you, Greenbridge. Dankeschön. We got way more better than we expected.
Hi, I'm back again, but with good news and a happy face, because I just found Emmanuel and his startups, and I feel so lucky that I found an entrepreneur with whom I can share the same mindset and interest. And also, I'm so ready to invest. How? Using the Bridgemakers app. Additionally, using the Bridgemakers app, I was able to find a potential co-investor that I can work and invest with. Now I know what to do, thanks to the Bridgemakers.
That's the impact we want to see in the future. Thanks for listening, and drop your email if you want to be the first to get a notification once this app is on the market. Thank you, and we're looking forward to your questions.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm sorry I miscalculated, but it is now the chance for the jury to ask the questions. Please do raise your hand. I see one hand from Klaus already. Klaus, please go ahead.
Thank you, Vanjiko. One question I have, I'm glad you focus a little bit on the USP and you obviously check the competitors already. My question would be, who provides the first database? So where do you get your data from? Whom would you call first? So, just to start the project.
So it needs momentum on both sides. And for this reason, we start with addressing our key partners. This could be incubators, which have access to startups in the specific target countries, particularly in Africa. And on the other hand, investors, which we know of, and these could be like semi-governmental or governmental investors, but also venture capital associations focusing on green tech. In Africa, in the beginning, we have to address them one by one, but once we start getting running, they will be spread by word.
Maybe to add, because we want to also focus especially on startups in the green innovation space. So there's a lot of, green building councils and green building bodies that are often being addressed or contacted by startups for that funding. And I think they would love to actually be able to direct them somewhere specifically in this field in terms of where they can get support.
Thank you for your answer. I give the opportunity to Maria.
Thanks for a great presentation. My question actually is very similar to Klaus's question. Your business model is a subscription model, right? That is basically relies on scale. So you need to get as many as possible subscribed to your app And I wonder, have you thought about due diligence of all of these participants? Because one thing you need to make sure is that every participant is genuine, and actually genuine in terms of their impact values, but also genuine in terms of the money that they hold, or that there is actually any startup there. So I just wondered whether you thought about that.
Yeah, we thought about it, and that's why I also mentioned in the beginning, joining is for free. So you don't have to make large front-up payments, especially not as a startup. As a startup, you pay for the fees, like for the capacity building, only when you like it. So you can have a test for one lesson, and if you like, you will go more, but low entry hurdles. And for the investors, in the end, they anyway have budgets to reach out for looking for investment opportunities. So there, for this reason, it's fine to also charge them for matching, because that's we actually say we charge them, but this will still be cheaper than the conventional way of doing it.
I just quickly clarify, I think my question was more around the trustworthiness of all of your members. How do you guarantee a startup, when they're connecting with an investor, they're not being conned? I'm just going to put it in more simple terms.
You will have seen in the presentation that there is a verification process. So after the registration takes place, we didn't obviously go into detail now about all the exact questions we were asked, but we will find out exactly the kind of necessary verification questions one has to include in that registration process. And then there is a verification taking place. Does this company exist? Whether they have a registration number, that would be great. But obviously, we are also working with startups that are not necessarily registered, but there will be means in place that will check that. And then only then will they get an activation pin that enables them to get matched.
And in addition, also, the investors see to which extent the startups also went through the capacity building. So this could be a signal, hey, these guys really know what they're doing because they went through comprehensive capacity building.
So I just want to add something. So our work is to minimize the risk for investors and also the work for investors, because we understand that investors, they do not have the time to do their due diligence. That's why, as my colleague said, we will ask also some questions, so then we can do our own assessment before making this startup ready for the investors. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Just one comment there. I think it's very expensive. Just bear that in mind. That whole process will cost a lot of money. Just make sure you pitch the right amount.
Thank you to Team Bridge Builders for your presentation and for their responses, and of course the jury for the questions. We now move to the fourth team. I would like to invite over Jana to come and introduce the fourth team. Who are they, and tell us a little bit more. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. So hopefully I invite you to get to know the winners of this Agile competition. I'm really proud that I was the coach of this amazing team. And if somebody would ask me what is special about them, it's dropping in, dropping off, having the camera on, having them off. But they were always connected. And this is my wish for the future. So please leave this WhatsApp chat and let's explode it, because I think we have to celebrate something. So the stage is yours. I brought, of course, some special tone for that. So all the best for the Green Rockets.
Okay, great. Just to be sure, I'm the one presenting, so I'll show the presentation, or will somebody else be showing our presentation? Sorry.
Toby? They share. Okay, yes, please go ahead and share.
Okay. Just a second.
We see it.
Great, you can see it?
Yes.
Perfect, okay. Welcome to our pitch. We want to tell you a little story and present our solution for, I think, a problem that has been shed light on for many ways now. Quickly to see who we are. I think Jana described us in a wonderful way already, but we're a strong team which is mainly based in Ghana. So we have Beatrice, Marie, Kwabena, and then also Justice and myself being in Ghana. And then we have Emmanuel from Rwanda, we have Jan from Germany, and then of course Jana, our fantastic coach. Okay, good. I think we've seen a lot of shocking pictures. This one is just from February, and it's been done by an artist for the UN Environment Assembly. I think showcasing what is one of the biggest problems, which is consumption. So all of us are involved, and I think this wonderful plastic flood is showing what we need to work on. And work on is actually what we want to jump into. So we want to really focus on solutions. And I think it's been a lot of pictures around fear. So maybe starting with the problem that we have identified based on knowing there's a lot of consumption and there's too much waste and there's a problem with how we consume. We think that there's a lack of awareness and also a lack of easy opportunities to actually make everyone being part of an impactful change of consumption. The solution that we want to present to you is a fun and engaging app where people, users can gain points for their daily consumption and behavioral change in a positive way, and like that become active climate change activists. The market size that we look at for the first part will be Ghana. As I've told you, we've done a lot of research being based a lot in Ghana. So we want to target 6 million people between 15 and 24 in Ghana in the first phase. But then we have very big plans because we see our target audience actually being the young population on the whole continent, which is almost 1 billion, and we would love to also have the solution in Germany. We will also run you through the impact that we see the solution tackling, so basically the SDGs. Our mission statement is basically we want fun and we want a win-win-win solution for consumer, which is all of us, for the climate and for the economy. We want to run you through our prototype now and see how you react. So in a nutshell again, we want to tackle the lack of awareness and enable young people to become active part in a positive change of consumption. The solution that we are presenting is called Green Up, because there's only one way and it's up. And it's our fun app that will help to tackle this. Okay, let's show you.
So, what is this green up that everybody is talking about? I need to find out because a lot of people are making money or getting some points. I really need to find out this green up thing.
Wow, I just got 10 points just by dropping off my plastic bottle at the recycling depot at Total. I need to win more points. Oh, how is Yam doing? Oh, he's not doing bad at all.
Oh, yes. I just arrived at Frankfurt station. I've been using public transport for the last 6 months. I've been getting lots of points. Everywhere I go to the station, I just scan a QR code and I get a point for not using private transport. Been using the stations, public transport in Berlin, now in Frankfurt, and it's going really well. I'm definitely beating B. Oh, but I see Marie's doing well as well. How's she doing? I need to give her a call. Hey, Marie.
Hi, Jan. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I see I'm still ahead of you, but you're catching up. How have you been doing?
Oh, yes, I've been doing amazing. So for the past month, I have not been using my car. I always take public transport. And guess what? My local grocer just started using sustainable packaging. And so I'm coming right for you, Jan. I'm coming for all those points.
Oh, that's a good point. Sustainable packaging. I need to look into that as well here. That's great. A good tip. I make sure you won't catch me.
Oh, I will catch you.
All right. Good luck. May the more sustainable.
Good luck to you too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So thanks, Katharina. Thanks, team. So that was a brief demonstration of how our app works. And I'll walk you through some of the features and how we are planning to actually take this thing to market. For our app, it's really easy to sign on. You only need your phone number and it's free to download. What we've done is something that everyone can enjoy using. So basically by Jan, going to the train station and scanning a QR code, he gets points. Beatrice drops off her used plastic bottles and she gets points. I go to my local grocer, I use sustainable packaging, and I also get points simply by scanning a QR code. So users are able to collect points. They're also able to redeem rewards with those points. And even better, they're able to work with their friends, their family, home and abroad. Next slide. So how do we actually make this work? So the first step is developing the app, and we're going to make it available on both Android and iOS. And as we mentioned, easy, simple, single sign-on with just your phone number. We are also looking to partner with a lot of companies that are already in the sustainability space and who have a large reach in our target market. So we have FMCGs like Unilever, like Coca-Cola, who already have a mandate of contributing to sustainability. We are also looking to partner with all of the mom and pop shops that we have around, still leveraging our partners' distribution channels. We want to start our pilots in Ghana with at least 2,000 active users in our year one, and scaling that model all across Ghana with 10,000 plus users. We're starting with 2,000 users because we want to start with a catchment area where we can really understand what the user patterns are going to be. We plan to then scale from year 2 to 3 to Nigeria, Kenya, Rwanda, and have our friends in Germany also getting in on those points. We do understand that there's a lot of different apps there. And so for us, differentiation and actually putting the word out there that this app is here is key for us. And we've also identified what are the channels that our target audience usually uses. Online, most of them engage a lot with influencers or key influencers in their communities that they like. TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook are quickly taking over the minds of these young people. And so these are channels that we are going to be heavily leveraging to be able to push adoption of our app. Our partners are another key channel for us because they have wide distribution networks and they have existing relationships with our potential small business partners as well. We're not forgetting offline because our target audience loves entertainment and they love to go out and eat. So we're looking to also partner with a lot of offline activities at entertainment centers and eateries to drive adoption of our app. In terms of revenue streams, we're definitely not going to give a free app and never make money from it. So we have different ways in which we are planning to monetize the app. The first one is through commissions. So we'll receive 3% commission from all partners who are generating sales through the app. Anybody who scans a QR code is, of course, buying from you. And so we're going to be getting commissions on those. We also have what we call trash cash. So trash does not become a trashy word anymore. It's fancy now. So you can go send your plastics, your used plastics, collect points, and be able to monetize those points. We also would want to, over time in year 3+, add on a marketplace onto the app so that where we see that people are going to various places to already buy, then we put those vendors onto our app so people can order from them online. And this helps drive traffic to them as well. In the future, we will roll out the Green App Premium, where users can have access to premium features, different games, and different reward tiers. In terms of competition, we looked at various segments of competitors. We have some apps. The only one we have seen in Ghana is called Climate Games app. And it's an app that allows you to play different games towards, and collect just different games to educate you on climate games. For us, we have an easy single sign-on. For most of these apps, you need your email address, you need your location. It's very complex to sign on and you need to answer a bunch of questions. But for us, it's free and it's simple to sign on. We are focused on climate behavior change. Most of our competitors are not. We also focused on the youth. You have the likes of e-commerce apps, which by nature are focused on the youth, but they're also not focused on all of the other things that are our unique selling points. And we are also really focused on driving the SDGs, which is not a clear focus for most of our competitors. Even though some may touch on some aspects, it's not really a clear and direct focus for them. So we mentioned that we wanted to start piloting from Ghana, but we have big dreams. Of course, we are the Green Rockets. we've realized that throughout Africa, there's over 1 billion young people. And there's a lot of research that shows that the future of sustainability and driving the agenda of climate change is in the hands of these young people. But as Katharina mentioned, there's been a lot of negligence in that area of getting them to be aware and educated and truly understand how their little daily actions can contribute to change. And so our target audience, as we expand, is going to spread throughout Africa. And if you notice from our channels of advertising and getting the word there about our app, we also focus on technology, which is using an app, because most of these people are on mobile. They are on these social pages already. We're also looking at entertainment and food centers because these are the top 3 things that take up consumption for our target audience. And so we're looking to be able to reach all of these people throughout Africa as our app scales and our business grows. So I will hand over to Katharina to take us through to the end.
Great, thanks, Marie. I think everybody is now well aware of the solution we want to provide. Before we close, I think Marie has pointed out super well how big the opportunity is of actually helping with a solution to make basically the whole of Africa's young population active climate contributors with a change of consumption or even an early adoption of the right consumption, right? We have these 2 quotes in here that actually show again how much has been thought about this topic, but it needs solutions and something that is really tackling this. So the first one is Africa's young demographic could provide a powerful opportunity for development and beyond. No doubt about that, and we kept that in mind. The second one is, on the positive side, the population provides an opportunity for the continent to address Africa's sustainable development challenges. And I think this is key because our solution helps that everyone actually can contribute on a small scale, and as a sum, it will be a very huge impact we can create. Okay, we're closing with our mission statement to remind all of you again what we want to do. We want to create a fun win-win-win for the consumer, the climate, and the economy. Thank you very much for your time. I know you've heard some other presentations already, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Team Green Rocket. And now is the chance for the jury to ask some questions. Please raise your hand and I will see you. Ute, please go ahead.
I don't know if I didn't hear that, but what do you do with the points you get? I loved the idea. I loved your role play and the presentation. Wonderful. But what do you do with the points you get?
Great question. Thank you. So there's a lot of different ways you can redeem your points. As we mentioned, we are working with partners who are already in the sustainability space, and these are large FMCGs. So our users are going to be able to redeem those points as cash. So you can go to a supermarket and say, hey, here are my green points, and they're able to convert it for you to buy, say, let's say soaps for your house. So they're able to convert those to cash. We're also partnering with ecotourism sites. So you can go there and redeem your green points to go watch wildlife for free and stuff like that.
Maybe to add to that, I think one of the things that we get out of the feedback rounds and the testing was also the question if it can be redeemed as Momo. And I think that's a great point because especially in Africa, with usually 1 or 2 big players who are actually having a monopolist or a duopolist situation with mobile money, bringing them on board as partners, so Vodafone, Safaricom, MTN, would help us to really immediately have the chance to provide a very visible and financial value for each consumer, being able to use mobile money that they get as points they can spend on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer. Another question from the jury. We still have about 4 minutes. Yes, Klaus. Sorry, your microphone is muted.
Yes, okay, here I am. Not a question, a comment rather. So I think it was a very efficient and very well explained presentation. So that's why we don't have so many questions, perhaps. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Klaus, for your comment. And now Almut.
So it's very similar to the comment from Klaus, but I have one topic I would like to raise. This already came up in another presentation. I'm not sure anymore because I have so many input now and so many great ideas. So, but I guess that you could have a challenge to find new customers or new young people from outside this scene, what you are addressing. So the people who are not convinced yet. So what is your idea how to motivate them to be part of your community? I think this is really a big challenge. So we had this comment before, but I think you should think about that well, because it's a huge question for both business models or for both presentation groups. So this would be my comment and maybe also a question.
I think I can come in here. So what we thought about for people trying to convince people to come on board is when you sign up, you get some free points. So those free points will attract people who are not really convinced, first of all, to come and check what is happening. And immediately they come on board, then they experience that, oh, it's possible to financially gain something or convert my points into getting maybe product from the leisure space or from the supermarket. We think it will kickstart something in them to stay. So first of all, you get some free points to join and continue from there. So that is one of the motivational packages that we've thought about also.
All right, thank you for your answer, and thank you to Team Green Rocket for your wonderful presentation. And now I have the opportunity to introduce our final presentation for the day by the fifth group. And this will be done by Sepide. Please come on stage and tell us a little bit more.
Thank you very much. You know what they say, the best for the last. So I'm happy to announce the Wild Five to you. And I want to take this 1 minute to say really thank you to my team. Thank you to everyone, because, you know, you showed me that why I love actually my job. It was beautiful watching you, coaching you the last 5 days, seeing how you were able to make the sum bigger than its parts, you know, how you complemented each other and how you cooperated and co-created our beautiful idea. So thank you very much for that. And also thanks for the trust that you gave into the process, the design thinking process, even though you didn't have that much time and you were looking at me sometimes in disbelief, and I was just saying, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be all right. Yeah, that was our beautiful song also. And I want to give it up to you, to the stage to you, and just impress all the others. Go, the Wild Five.
Guten Tag. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure for my team and I to present to you what our project is about. But before we actually get right into it, we would like you to enjoy this short video that we have for you.
Okay, Kaspar. Hast du schon mal was von Klimawandel gehört?
Ja, schon, aber ich weiß nicht genau, was das bedeutet.
Weiß nicht genau, was das bedeutet. Und was könnte das denn sein?
dass so die Temperatur immer mal weiter steigt.
Und was fällt dir noch dazu ein vielleicht?
Also, das macht das Abgas von den Autos und so.
Okay, hey Sam, so tell me what you know about climate change.
I don't know anything about climate change.
Have you heard of climate change?
Yes.
Okay, so since you've heard at least climate change, well, you haven't heard anything at all about it. What have they said about it? What do people say about it? What have you seen on TV or, I don't know, elsewhere? What have you seen?
Sea level rising.
Sea level rising?
Change of weather.
Change of weather? That's the only thing. Okay.
So you've seen and heard of it for yourselves. I don't know what kind of feeling this provoked while you were watching and closely listening to them, but it's really clear that our younger generation just have vague ideas of what climate change is. They can't make direct connections. They don't understand how it impacts their lives now and in the future. So what we thought to ourselves as a group, how might we enable African and German communities, individuals, and families really understand their everyday actions that actually lead to climate change and teach them to form the right habits that will actually help create this awareness. And it will interest you to know that even in the first century, despite the buzz about climate change, there's still a whopping 40% of people who are still unaware of climate change. Yes, I'm sure this is really surprising to you, but that is the status quo. And so something has to be done about it. And when you look at it, what it is that the concept is just an abstract idea to the people in this 40% bracket.
So let me introduce you to Anna. She's a teacher at a comprehensive school in Germany. She loves her job and working with children. And she also cares for the planet. She really wants to make a difference and empower her kids and to support them in understanding what climate change means for them. Psst, ich mache meine presentation. Okay. And although she knows the global goals should be part of her curriculum, she always struggles to integrate them in her teaching procedures. All the more delighted she is when she discovers the brochure of the Global Heroes Schools Club program. Cool kids, cool down the climate. Global Heroes is a school club network that brings African and German students together to tackle climate change issues through varied activities and games. Thus, the kids can relate climate change to their daily life and establish meaningful connections and lifelong intercontinental friendships through joint collaborations, and besides, healing the planet. So Anna is really hooked about the program and realizes how easy it is to start her own club. She just downloads the starter toolkit. Luckily, she has a stable internet connection, but if not, she could also receive it via email and via mail, sorry. And as the toolkit itself is so self-explaining, she uses it straight away to her next lesson. It's a great success. The kids are so excited about their first project where they play a board game with the components of their lunchboxes and learn that a single avocado needs about 500 liters of water to grow. Unbelievable. The kids tell their parents about it, and with the help of Anna's mobile, they make photos and share their impression via the Global Heroes app. In doing so, Anna gets to know Amari, a teacher from Ethiopia who already runs a Global Heroes Club for over 2 years now. He invites Anna to perform a joint activity where Anna's and Amari's kids work together on an activity. At the beginning, Anna feels very uncertain. How should the kids be able to communicate with each other? But Amari destroys her concerns. He already had run several joint workshops, and it always worked out well. He made the experience that playing games and making and working with your hands are universal languages that don't need a translation. Just a little support in the beginning from the teachers and an inviting space to meet and share online is enough to start the collaborative projects. So Anna decides to give it a try, and she said, okay, let's do it. And they start a joint collaborative work. Well, not everything worked out as she thought at the beginning, but at least she realized how meaningful connections are, which were built during the process, and how delighted the kids are when presenting their projects results to each other, and that they realized, wow, that's what we made, and we made the change happen. So in a nutshell, this is how our program works. You sign up your school and create your own Global Heroes Club, and then you will get your starter toolkit straight away. Then they run the first challenge with your kids and you share the stories. So you will build meaningful connections and lifelong friendships while healing the planet.
So that's Global Heroes, but you might be asking, how would it be sustainable and how would it sustain itself after 10 years or 20 years? We're talking about more than 40,000 schools all over like Africa and Germany coming together. So our unique value proposition as simple as African German School Club Network. And there is a toolkit that we provide to these school clubs, and these kids come together and play with these tools and their actual impact. So our customer base is like, actually we have a double-sided business model, meaning our users and our clients are different. So our users, as you might guess, these are our children, and through the children, we access their families and their community. So these are the people and these are the users that we want to create impact on, but we don't want them to pay for it. So who's going to pay for it? Easy. We have two client bases. We have NGOs, and there are a bunch of NGOs, UN-based, AU-based, GIZ, GOTA, you can actually think of this, that are working on climate, education, agriculture, sustainability. And also at the same time, you have companies, these private companies that are like working on green technologies. And at the same time, they want to actually have access to these schools and these talents. So this would be the client that would be paying. And how would they pay? We have our revenue streams. So we have 5 revenue streams. The first one, and to build the toolkits and the platforms, that would be grants from these NGOs. And from the local companies, we want them to sponsor these clubs locally. And we want to brand these clubs by these local companies. And also we want the children and especially the schools to get some money to do projects. So they can raise money, they can have fundraising projects. They can also do at the same time, they will sell whatever product they're making with this project. These projects could be, for example, upcycling the plastic waste. And they can actually sell this, raise some money, and do some projects for themselves as well. Why would our initiative be special? We're working with games which are fun, it's cross-cultural, and also at the same time, finally, everyone gets to share their story via videos and pictures. And imagine a student in Germany communicating with a student from Ghana or Ethiopia. To make this come to reality, we have our partners, but the most amazing part about this is there are already platforms set up by, for example, the Goethe Institute, if you know the PASH project. So entry to the market and getting this club set up is not going to be that much complicated because there are a lot of things already done. And we have a bunch of projects, AU and EU centered, and also we have government ministries that are working on education, climate change, agriculture, foreign relations, and sustainability. So this would be our ideal partners. And the key resources we want offices in these countries. We want to build these toolkits and also build this platform, that mobile and website. And the cost structure would be, most of our costs would be admin and operation costs. Building the toolkit would also like somehow cost us something. And also the development platform, like to develop the app and the website would be somehow our cost structure. So that's how we're going to sustain it and make it really happen.
So our project's impact is really significant. As you can see, we have our input. They are activities like developing a toolkit, which is paper-based and making it available for any schools. And we have also the second product, which is developing an app as an exchange program for participating schools. If you look at the output, which is the direct effect, we have kids that are now working on climate change through tasks like upcycling, storytelling, creative workshops, and also through the app, there is a now virtual co-working space that where they share stories between themselves. And also they can, through the app, create joint products and projects and activities between African countries and Germany. These outputs are tackling quality education, which is SDG number 4, SDG number 13, and SDG number 17. If you look at the outcome, the indirect effect, we have awareness on climate change through the kids. Like families and communities now are influenced by their children. We have the build of relationships between people from African countries and Germany. We can also have a better understanding about the differences and similarities of these different cultures and countries. And thanks to this project, we can have the implementation of the knowledge about the protection of nature into their daily life. Like they can implement everything they have learned and have discovered through themselves by themselves. For the long-term impact, this project has a huge impact as to save the planet, to become healthier, as well as the climate-aware society. Through this club, we are building a climate-aware society. We are reducing the individual carbon footprint. Also, young global ambassadors who will be future decision makers will be created and will be developing their personalities through this club. Also, we are nurturing a generation of green soldiers, and we are building a global family. And this impact, if you look at the SDGs in the photo here, we have tackling SDG number 2, 6, 7, 11, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 15. And more is coming, inshallah. Yeah.
There are other organizations who are working on school projects on environment and climate change, but the demand is so high, there's so many children in so many schools, and our approach is very basic and easy and available for everyone at low cost. We don't see any competitors, but people and organizations who are aiming for the same goal as we do, climate action. We can learn from their experiences. We don't have to start from the very scratch. We can collaborate to put all of our efforts together, and we can tackle climate change.
So we have a great team that is flashed on the screen, 7 of us that are going to support this. But what are the next steps, you may ask? Apart from building the toolkit, helping schools to form the clubs and building the application that they can use to connect, we are going to pilot with 5 schools.
25 seconds.
We are choosing the schools in the AGYLE 2022 team, and so 1 school from each country to do that. And we are hoping to scale beyond that. Now, to conclude, let me show that we are very inclusive, and so we involve everybody, and so we are signing our motto in sign language.
The Wild 5, we learn, we lead, we love. Woohoo!
Thank you so much for that presentation from the Wild 5. And it is time now for questions from the jury. Please put your hand up. Yes, Almut. Ute.
Sorry, one person didn't raise my hand? No, right? Oh, because, okay,
I saw,
thank you.
sorry, it's Ute who
Go
has.
ahead, sorry.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I raised my hand, and congratulations to all of you. I'm really touched because of your wonderful presentation, and you really know how to do it. Yeah, you start with kids, you make interviews with kids, you have this really really perfect presentation with animations and so on. For me, it's just one question left, which is, how did you come up with that logo, with this tiger logo? What does it mean?
Yeah, Judith.
The Wild Five, you mean? Like this is our group, and then in the very first day we had to think of a name of our group. So we were group number 5, and we were brainstorming like what we are really passionate about. So some said they love cats, and then we said we love to learn. Someone said he loves love, and we love to lead because we're all young leaders. And that's kind of how we came up with this Wild Five thing. And then we had already our sign language approach, because we want to be inclusive. So it should be not only for African and German children, but it should be for disabled, for deaf. And because, yeah, the whole concept is simplistic, and the task should be able to be done by everyone.
And maybe to also to add, we looked at different cats, wild cats, and we decided for that one because it has kind of a sun in it, and it really enlightens others. And this is actually what we also want to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to take a question from Maria.
Yeah, thank you very much for a great presentation. I thought it was very authentic, having these 2 little boys in there. I thought that was a really good idea. I have a question, more a technical one, because I think relevance is clear to me. You're starting, as Ute just say, I think this is the right, right place to start as children, and collaboration and so on. But my very technical question is, how do you measure your impact? Because that is something that investors will be very keen on, to see that they can actually follow that their money will have had a sustainable impact in terms of socioeconomic and climate impact. And that's not quite clear to me how you would do that. Do you mine data from your app? How do you envisage that to be done?
In 1 minute, please.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Actually, yeah, we can actually measure our impact in one thing, that we see what the children do, and with doing that, with the actions they do, we can actually calculate how much emission they save. So this is actually an idea which lays behind. There's the idea also to have a badge concept behind it that also tracks the amount of carbon emission that is saved, plus what impact it has, also not only on the carbon emission, but also for example, for the waste, or for the water as well.
And actually, like, just to add on this point, one thing that's really should be clear is there are already schools established everywhere. We have already the infrastructure there. So these schools would be the ideal platform to actually reach to the children. So we don't want the children to log in and create an account. That would be a long way, and that would require a lot of like onboarding, like energy in a way. But now if you partner with schools, we already have those teachers and those infrastructures, and you can give them the KPIs that you need to be measured, and on a daily basis, you can measure there, like through the videos that will be uploaded, and so the actions that these like children do, and the impact they create with their family, you can literally witness it and showcase it too. So the platform would be ideal to showcase, to highlight the stories, but it's something that would be done on the ground. So, and there would be ground personnel there doing this and addressing these issues.
And now one last question from Klaus. Thank you very much for your answer.
Yeah, thank you for the catchy and sophisticated and really convincing presentation. I think your partnership concept is really convincing. I think at one point I had the ideas, because because one of the logos, one of the graphics looked a bit familiar to me. So there are comparable projects in different countries, and my only worry would be, would that project still be open to include impact like that? What I mean is, there's one project with kids in Ethiopia, and it looked, somebody is nodding already, so this is no coincidence, obviously. So would it be possible to include other comparable ideas in that concept?
So thank you for mentioning with kids, because like they are set up here in Ethiopia and like they've been working, and like I think Judith said it perfectly. Like the demand is so high, like even like thinking of competition is not even like bad. Like there are a lot of partners waiting for us to join this sector and to actually add our own kind of influence and impact. So from that regard, like with kids, and there are also like these PASH schools, there are already multiple platforms that are already set up and waiting for people to come and join them to address all this waiting children and all these families that need to be influenced by such kind of initiatives. Yeah, that's a good insight.
Thank you so much. I think this, to be fair for every team, this is where we carried off, right, with the Q&A for that particular team. We have come to the end of the pitching session. We have had incredible ideas from the young leaders in the 5 groups. And I am excited to see what the jury will come up with once they go into the meeting to deliberate on which idea was the most innovative. Thank you for being a great audience. Thank you too for joining us on the live stream. I would like us to thank ourselves by sending the signature Agile Digital Week love heart. Please, I didn't get a chance to do that in between the sessions because of the time, right? But now we can do it. I absolutely enjoyed all your presentations. Thank you very much. I see that. Now you want to send... It is agreed. Thank you so very much. Now, just to bring you up to speed as to what we shall be expecting, the jury will now meet and deliberate on that. And then at 6 p.m., we shall know who is the grand winner of the 4 coaching sessions with a Launch Lab. Yes, these coaching sessions will help develop the idea even further, and who knows what else comes out of it. And then for all of us young leaders, we shall meet here again at 4 p.m. for a feedback session that will be led by Fabi and Lee. And there you can just, give your feedback. Thanks again for your attention. From me to you, love. And all the best to all the teams. Goodbye.
Go Wild 5.
Go Wild 5.
Yes. Being recorded.
There's some people from the Green Up here as well. Maybe we can also collaborate and work together, as we need kind of a